Yes, ma'am.
We can't wait to hear about Senate Bill 270. I'm glad to have our good senator here.
Always a pleasure to be with you.
Ready?
Am I on?
You're on.
On. Thank you, Madam Chair. Today I'd like to talk about the City of Lakeside bill, which is SB 270. I'm not here to talk about the Tucker and the Briarcliff bills, except to say that I've been in the General Assembly for 16 years. Starting with Sandy Springs, I have supported every city that's come through. In fact, this year, I think, for the first time, with the city of South Fulton, I believe that's the first time of any of our Democratic members that have served in the General Assembly have supported the city. So I'm glad that that's happening at this point. We have tried to work. I got involved with the City of Lakeside about 13 months ago. They had gone to the senator in that area, one of the areas there, and as we all know, he's doing other things right now, to be fair to him. They've also talked to the representative of that area, and at the time, there'd never been a bill carried by a Democrat going forward. It's not politics, it's just a matter of fact. I'm not criticizing him, I'm just making a statement of fact. And because I've thoroughly supported self-determination, I said I would do that, particularly since I have precincts that are involved here. And that's why I did it. This bill, during the course of the past year, I want to talk specifically about provisions in the bill because I think it's very important. First of all, we talked about a little bit about politics here. None of these cities, whether it's Briarcliff or Lakeside, at this point, they are not Republican areas. If you go look at the voting records, all these areas went for President Obama. So it's got nothing to do with Republican, Democrat, trying to get control as a Republican of the city. This proposed bill has 5 regular districts, 2 at-large districts, and what we call the weak mayor system. And we're talking about roughly 14,200 people in a particular district, with about 35,000 in the at-large districts. Contrast that with the county commissioners with about 140,000. And you've heard all these people, whether it's Briarcliff, Tucker, et cetera, that there's been obviously issues in DeKalb County and they're looking for local control. And I will say this to you, whenever a city comes up, I will plan, if we can get borders worked out down the road, I'll support it. But this is the only bill right now. Part of the issue was, in the contrast, I tried to put the Tucker and the Lakeside people together for a couple of months. We didn't get anywhere. The services we were talking about for the Lakeside bill were public safety, zoning and land use, public works, parks, and recreation. The Tucker people are not interested in police services, which is fine. That's their business. But I will tell you, after watching all the new cities, they will tell you the police service is probably the best thing they've got out of all of this, including getting their roads paved, et cetera. The Carl Vinson Institute did a study. Mr. Harmon testified over here from Emory University. He came to me and said, look, we really don't want to be part in, part out. I said, okay, Charlie, we'll do this. We'll take you out. That's what we did. That's what this does. When we did that, the surplus that we were talking about initially was probably about $5 million based on the Carl Vinson study. It goes down to probably $2.5, $3 million as a surplus at this point. I guess at this point, what is really of interest to me, Commissioner Boyer, who represents this area, she is not in favor of the borders of the city of Lakeside, which I understand. By the same token, we had a meeting in her office January the 7th, myself and representatives from Lakeside and from Tucker. She proposed at that meeting that we create a megacity. We put the two together, much like a Sandy Springs. That was 2 months ago. During that time frame, they have lobbyists that they've hired, so on and so forth. The day I presented this bill in the Senate, I was out with the lobbyist at that point, telling me he's working on the megacity, okay, and he'll be getting back to me. Well, folks, it's a week later, and he's never gotten back to me. That's his business, I guess. But I'll tell you what concerns me here. We've got 70,000 people here, people that I represent, and we're going to give you these Google Maps, okay? And I've got a book here. Our lady back here, Liz Hanfeld, will testify. She lives outside 285. I've got over 1,000 pieces of paper here where over 2/3, almost 70% of the people in the precincts that I represent say they'd like to be part of the city of Lakeside. I've got it by neighborhood. It's broken out. I'll share the whole book with you. You're elected representatives. If the people that you serve, these aren't the other senators, I serve these people. They've elected me. They want to be in a city. If 2/3 of those people, okay, come to you and say, we want to be part of it, then you would support them. I have no doubt in my mind about that. So I don't believe there's going to be another city this year. I don't want to leave people behind. And that's why I'm the advocate for this particular bill. I think it's that important. Now, down the road, if Tucker has a city, if Briarcliff has a city, and we get the boundaries worked out with the other cities, I will more than be happy to support them. But I will promise you this, and I said this on the Senate floor, and this is very important, Madam Chair. This is the last city bill I carry. It's the last part of my district that is not incorporated, okay? And what I also said on the floor, which with all due respect to my friend Mr. Allman, I've read correspondence, I did not say I'd work this out with Tucker. What I said was, I'll support the city of Lakeside or the mega city, just like Commissioner Boyer proposed. And that's what I've tried to do. So, again, at this point, I thank you for, going through this. The good news is, this is the last year I'll be carrying it. Because, I've had enough. I've already had the one heart attack. But seriously, I do really believe that strongly in self-determination. I've even got an opponent out of it. I believe so much in self-determination. And look, I understand people's feelings. I've even thought, and I'm planning maybe to do this, I think, next week, if you're going to have a hearing on this bill on whether to vote on it or not. I'm going to probably change the name. Because I think Lakeside and Tucker, there's too much of a high school rivalry. And maybe it'll be La Vista, maybe it'll be North Atlanta, which was used once before. But something, so down the road, if people in a certain area want to be annexed in, they don't feel like they're giving up their identity. But I will tell you, myself and Commissioner Boyer have worked very hard on this. And her chief of staff is here today, and he'll confirm that. But I tell you what, since my particular political party took over control here, we have always given people the right of self-determination. I hope we'll continue. With that, I'll yield the floor and let Mr. Levitas and some other people speak.
All right, go ahead.